Yeah, still recording, getting some sweet footage. I'm in such a good mood right now. Holy crap. Okay, well, first things first. Welcome back, everybody. We are fully into spring now here in Flagstaff, so I've started taking the Himalayan out, going on some good new rides. Obviously, the first thing that's new here is I've got a little RAM mount so I can point my camera back at me, so I'm going to try and experiment with some different camera angles today. I've also got a mount that's down on my engine guard to kind of get some wheel shots sort of down low. There's lots to update on regarding my experience with the Himalayan. I've put a ton of accessories on the bike. It's basically just about ready, so I'm very excited about that for like a big trip. However, I have had a few issues with the bike as well, some quite frustrating. Most notably, I started having a lot of issues with stalling, two different kinds of stalling. So I was getting a lot of stalls just on cold starts, which, you know, it kind of happens. It's a very lean running motorcycle. It gets very cold here. Sometimes it's just a little sluggish on the start. You know, you give it the little extra fuel enrichener, you choke and it start, and then I'd walk away from the bike and it would stall. So that was like sort of the main stalling issue, and I knew that that wasn't really a big deal because once the bike got warmed up it was usually fine, but I still was annoyed by it, and this is clearly a common problem with Himalayan owners. So that was the first thing that I wanted to try and address. But then I also started getting stalling issues just randomly, sporadically. Like the bike would just stall. I'd be riding down the highway in fifth gear and it would just cut out. Engine light would come on, zero power. And that was the one that really got me nervous, because, you know, there was a few times when I was in the middle of a turn at an intersection and it just cut out. And I started documenting all of this behavior. One of the big things that I noticed was every time that did happen, I had a hard time restarting it unless I completely recycled the engine kill switch so that the fuel pump would reprime. So I started kind of suspecting that it had something to do either with pressure, like a fuel pressure problem, like there was a vacuum being created in the tank, which is a common issue I've also read about. People have issues with the evap system and kinked hoses under their tank causing pressure buildup or pressure vacuum, which then causes the fuel pump to not be able to pull fuel and it cuts out. The other thing that a lot of people talked about, or I guess the other thing that I suspected was maybe it was just something with the fuel pump itself. Needless to say, I've made a couple trips down to the dealership, which is 65 miles away, so it's a bit of a pain to do that. Of course they ran all sorts of diagnostics on it, and we can't find any problems. We couldn't get it to stall. That's kind of the traditional story that always seems to happen. So I want to be able to rely on this bike if I take big trips into the mountains. So this was a big concern for me. Tried a lot of different things. We did reroute those hoses under the tank, so they weren't pinched. We also, I took out the fuel pump and just kind of inspected it, made sure there was an issue. I drained all the fuel out of it, thinking maybe just the fuel from winter was bad, and I drained all the fuel out, put some new fuel in it. I put an iridium spark plug in it. I had the valves readjusted. All things that really shouldn't cause stalling problems, but I just kind of wanted to cover all my bases. I know a lot of people on the Himalayan will take the secondary air system, the air injection system, and the evap systems off the bike completely, just to save weight and to make things just simpler. And I kind of have mixed feelings about that. I mean, I get it. I get why you want to do that. But I'm also kind of like very conscientious about emissions. I teach climate science, so I'm very, very conscientious about emissions. And, you shouldn't have to take that stuff off. You know, it shouldn't be causing problems. You should be able to just leave that stuff alone and your bike should just run fine. So, you know, I get that people take that stuff off, but I just don't want to do that. So I didn't mess with any of that stuff. But then very recently, I did come to discover when I had the seat off and I was kind of poking around by the battery, just checking, you know, reseating a bunch of electrical connections just to make sure everything was connected properly. I noticed that the two relays that are kind of tucked down behind the battery, they're identical, two exactly the same relays. One of them controls the fuel pump and one of them controls the electronic fuel injection, and one of them was slightly popped out, wasn't fully seated. So I took them both out. They're exactly the same relay, so it doesn't really matter which way you put them in. But I took them both out. There was a huge amount of dielectric grease, like almost way too much. So I kind of just cleaned it out a little bit and then put them both back in. And since doing that, I've noticed that my fuel pump primes every single time I turn the engine switch on like it's supposed to. Whereas before, sometimes I'd flip the switch and it would go zzz, and it would kind of just stop and it wouldn't fully prime. So like there was something going on with the fuel pump. And I think that that's possibly what was causing it. And that would also explain why it would just randomly cut out and then it wouldn't restart again unless I primed the fuel pump. So fingers crossed, I think that may have solved the random stalling issue. And as far as the cold stalling issue, another thing that the dealership did, which you can find online, is apparently the factory, when they build these, they set the throttle position sensor slightly off. It's just very lean setting. It's not quite at the right voltage. So they went in and they adjusted that slightly, and it totally changed the way the bike idles now. Because, you know, I thought I was just going to crank up the idle speed, but just by adjusting that, the bike idles so much better now, and it has never stalled on start anymore, even when it was cold. So I think those two things may have solved my issue. However, there's one final caveat. Since bringing it back from the dealership this last time, you know, I wasn't really paying attention when I was driving back, and made it all the way back home and looked down and realized that the check engine light is now on. So I'm guessing they forgot, you know, they disconnected something and when they were troubleshooting it and it came on and they didn't notice it and it's still on. I'm hoping that's the case and it just needs to be cleared. But hopefully there's not actually something wrong with the bike. It runs great. I haven't had any problems with it. So I'm kind of just hoping that it's fine. But I do now have to go back down there to have them reset it. I tried to do the reset procedure that someone has a YouTube video on how to sort of go through the procedure of, you know, turning it on and off a certain number of times with a wire connected and, you know, to get the readout code. And I tried to do that and it will not reset. So either in the 2021 model, they've eliminated the ability to do that, or there's legitimately something wrong with the bike. So I don't know. We'll see. So that's been my troubles as of now. I'm going to take the bike out and play around with it. They've opened all the fire roads around here. So I'm just going to go tool around for 20 minutes down the street, see how she runs, play around with the camera a little bit, and yeah, just enjoy the weather. So let's go take a little spin. All right. Fuel pump primed nicely. We're going to fire her up. Starts right up. Just see how nicely that's idling. So I have an update for you. As I sit here, I'm looking at my dash and the check engine light is now off. So I believe whatever system was causing a problem has now cleared itself. This is fantastic. So never mind. I just saved myself a 3-hour trip to the dealer and back. All right, let's go for a little spin. Oh man, that's really, really nice that I don't have to worry about that now. Oh, I'm quite happy about that fact. All right, she's just purring along right at 1100, sort of 1200 RPM, right where it's supposed to be. All right, we're gonna just go down the road here to a spot that's got some really nice dirt roads. And then yeah, we'll flip the camera around and get some good shots and play around a little bit. See how she goes. So yeah, that's been my saga for the last couple of weeks, but wow, I may be in the clear right now. This is really fantastic. The bike is running really smooth. I highly recommend for any of you watching this, go ahead and put that Iridium NGK spark plug in. It really does make the bike run a bit smoother. And get that throttle position sensor tweaked, and maybe even you know, give a quarter turn on that idle speed, because you know, I think a lot of people have this issue of cold stalling, and you know, it's a common problem. So I don't know, take that for what it is. That's been my experience. Okay, we're at the I guess fire roads here. The gates are now open, as you can see. I've got the camera now, classic mount. I'm gonna get on the bike here and kind of give you a really quick update. I'm not gonna get into any of my accessories just now, but as you can see, I've got some new mirrors. I've got this RAM mount. I installed a charger. I'm testing out this weird little extender for the windshield, but already I can tell it's gonna suck, so that's going off. But yeah, I've got a few other things going on. Got a tank bag that I've got all set up to go, and yeah, so anyway, we're gonna just rip it up a little bit on these trails and have some fun. The old check engine light is off. Go ahead and kick off the ABS. There it goes. I'm not going to spend too much time out here today because I've got to get home. I've got a bunch of work I need to still do for today, but I actually just wanted to get out and test the new camera setup. I had no idea the check engine light was going to come off, so I am ecstatic right now because the bike is actually running better than ever. The big test will be just to ride a couple hundred miles over the next couple weeks and see if it stalls. And if it goes several hundred miles without stalling, I think we may have fixed all the issues. So I'm cautiously optimistic. This is really, really, really great. All right, this is a little bit of a gnarly stretch in here. It's been a while since I've been on some stuff, so this is kind of exciting a little bit to get back onto some good stuff here. Yes. Oh man, I've almost forgotten how much fun this is. I'm a little bit nervous actually, because it's been a while, you know, and you kind of lose your confidence just from not being on it. So this is all good practice. Oh man, this is primo way to spend a Monday afternoon. Yeah, still recording, getting some sweet footage. I'm in such a good mood right now. Holy crap. I'm so happy that check engine light is off. Man, that's just great news. But yeah, thanks for joining along. I'm really excited to start getting out. I've got a couple of weeks in May where I've got to go out of town for some lab work. But, you know, other than that, I plan to spend many hours on this baby. And, yeah, just looking forward to it. So you can kind of see some of these patches in here are very sandy. So if I remember correctly, I think this was the road right here that I tried to go down. Right here. That didn't work out so well for me. So I'm just gonna head back because I just wanted to sort of get out today and get some fresh air. I don't really have time for a long trip, but I wanted to make a video as well and talk through my thoughts. Gonna pay attention because again, I'm a little out of practice here, a little out of shape on my on my skills. I got the rear brake going. Just gonna nurse it a little bit. Got it in second. All right, that wasn't so bad. Man. Oh, she's riding like a dream, baby. So this is Lake Mary Road right here. This is a great road for riding. You can get on this road and it'll take you all the way down the Mogollon Rim, down to Payson. It's really nice. But hey, we just made it. We just went out for a 20-minute ride and it did not stall. So let's check another one in the book. I think all of these things are good. All of these are good signs. So, all right. We're gonna just pop home here. We're almost there and call it a day. Fantastic. Man, I'm in such a good mood. I cannot believe that check engine light went off. Booyah. All right. All right, well, that was a great little ride. We've had some good news. I think just maybe I gave myself some good luck by talking about it. But thank you so much for taking a little spin on some dirt roads with me today. And there's a lot more detailed stuff to come. So take care and, of course, be safe out there, guys.